All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Coach Eli. Glad you could all join me here today on this amazing Friday. The weekend is almost here, and what a way to end the week. You are not going to believe what I say here today. Well, I hope you believe it's true, but you're not going to believe your ears here today, folks, because today we are putting an end to something that should have ended a long time ago. So stick around for that. But before we get to that, let me make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out, and it absolutely has. And let me check out the back end of YouTube and make sure that things are rolling smoothly. Hey, Queen, I see you. I'm so glad you're here, Queen. Queen, this has been amazing. It's been amazing to have you here, Queen. You're amazing. There's no other moderator like Queen Helen Casey. I'm not trying to put her on a pedestal and take away anyone else's credibility regarding moderating. But this woman is professional. She's dedicated. She's loyal. Without even asking, she's just a good person, and I thank you for that, Queen. Lots of respect from Coach Eli. Yeah, you're welcome, Queen. You absolutely deserve that acknowledgement. You absolutely do. And if they want to call that white knighting, who cares? I'll white knight for you any day of the week, Queen Helen Casey, because I know you've done the same thing for me, and I greatly appreciate you. Again, this is not being simulcasted on Facebook for obvious reasons. This is a stream particularly catered to a longtime audience that's been following me out here on YouTube, whether people like me or not. If you're new here, you're probably not going to have a clue regarding what's going on. If you want to stick around and try to figure it out, that's up to you. If not, please accept my apologies and come back another time. I'm hoping after today, after this stream, I keep saying this every day, but things keep coming up. I'm hoping to get back to my regular content soon and really help people get a better grip on their lives. Lord Gaelick's in the house. The Dark Lord has arrived. Welcome, Lord Gaelick. How you doing, brother? How you doing, man? Well, let's mention the sponsor of this channel. The sponsor of this channel is Troy Brewer. He is the CEO, founder, and owner of the Discover Community Network. So if you have any questions regarding your branding or marketing needs, or need someone to help you with your branding or marketing, please connect with Troy. Go to the description and check out both links there that are available. One is to the main site, discovercommunitynetwork.com, and the other is one of their subsidiaries, the DCN Internet Radio Network. Once again, Troy, thank you very much for your continued sponsorship and patronage of this channel. I greatly appreciate you, bro. And Troy knows what's going on. He knows exactly what's going on, and things are getting back to normal. And I will tell you, folks, the months ahead are going to be incredible for all of us, at least the people that are on the right side of things. As far as the people that are on the wrong side of things, well, you got something coming that you would have never expected. You guys have no clue. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what I'm talking about, what I'm going to talk about. Not a single person knows where this is going, right? Everybody's thinking, oh, well, you're already planning on suing Brian, and your family is already getting with their attorneys. And no, this is something completely separate. This is something that I've been holding on to for quite some time, and it's gotten to the point of where it's checkmate. It's checkmate, Brian. It's checkmate. Now, the title of the stream obviously is called Checkmate Brian, the stream of the century. And I'm not joking. Checkmate Brian, the stream of the century, because this is where it all ends here today. And Jamie, I know you're tuning in. I know you're watching, James. You're going to want to pay close attention, James. Instead of trying to rile up your troops to attack me, it doesn't matter. You can try to attack me all you want, James. Okay, folks, I'm back. Am I back live? OBS Studio disconnected me and automatically reconnected me. If you're watching this live, you probably saw buffering for a second, and then it should have just automatically popped up back live. If you're watching on the replay, you're going to see it splice. Sometimes the YouTube servers will restart and cut you off temporarily, and then OBS reconnects you. So if you're Watching here live, if you're watching live, you probably saw buffering. We should be back live on the air. Can somebody confirm that, please? If you're watching on the replay, you probably saw a splice that cut me off in the middle of what I was saying and then, immediately left off the part where I came back live online. I just want somebody to verify that we're back live. I can actually check myself, to be honest with you. Let's just check. That cut me off in the middle of what I was saying and then, immediately left off the part where... Looks like we're still live. Yeah, nobody's actually said anything in the chat regarding buffering for a second and then coming back. Can somebody confirm that? It looks like it's working well on my end. Nobody's saying anything. I don't want to continue until I make sure everyone can hear and see what I'm saying. All is okay. Yeah, so you folks just heard what happened. My stream's not getting shut down. I'm not getting hacked. It's just the internet. And whenever a server on the internet restarts, it'll cut you off. But I have OBS set to attempt to reconnect a few seconds after a disconnection, and everything is back to normal. Hopefully, it won't happen multiple times. Sometimes when this has happened in the past, it happens 2 or 3 times during a stream, and OBS will send me a little notification on the bottom right of Windows on my laptop and let me know. So hopefully we're going to be good. Anyway, so James, you're going to want to pay close attention because I'm going to start off by talking about you here. I'm also going to start off by saying that I know exactly what you're doing or trying to do, and I'm sure Brian is involved in this. If you haven't noticed, folks, okay. Well, that's fine. I'm not concerned. I got a message from behind the scenes. I'm not concerned about that. It's not a big deal, and I'm just going to ignore everything. I'm also going to make a statement here that I'm also going to be ignoring donations from people that are just trying to get my attention for the wrong reasons. What I will do is tally the total as part of the overall donation fund for the day, but I'm not going to give you the notoriety. So if you want to send me your money to try to get a message through, that's cool. But you're not going to get that message to go through. I'm not going to give you the notoriety. So that's that. If you're going to try to eat off my plate, you're going to have to do it without me acknowledging you, and I'm not going to do that. So that's that. It's not a big deal. They can continue doing what they're doing anyway. So Jamie, I know exactly what you're trying to do. If you haven't noticed, folks, Jamie, over the past few days, has been saying that he is now Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc., which stands for Incorporated. Lycan Theory Entertainment, Incorporated. I wonder why you've had to go that route, James. Now, let me remind every single person here that doesn't know me, those of you that do know me, know that for well over 10 years, I sold insurance. I sold property and casualty insurance, which is auto, home, renters, and commercial insurance. And I also sold life and health insurance. And even though I sold my business almost a year ago, I'm still licensed. I will continue to renew my licenses in case I ever need to use them down the road. But I'm inactively selling, but I'm still licensed. But that's not the point. The point is, I sold liability insurance, and I dealt with corporations and LLCs and all that stuff for over 10 years. So if anyone understands what's happening here, it is me. It is me. And James, you're about to get called out again. So Jamie has now gone out for the last few days, especially today at J-Rom's stream. We'll talk about that in a little bit. J-Rom, you were pathetic today, bro. I'm not even coming at you, J-Rom. You fell into the trap, J-Rom. You got triggered for no reason, bro. Maybe I used you as a diversion, J-Rom, and you fell right into it, J-Rom. How do you feel? JD Gunner's going to say you got C-U-C-K-E-D by the you-know-what, right? You're continuing to get C-U-C-K-E-D, J-Rom, by a guy that's been called that, even though that's not who I am. So, Jamie, again today in J-Rom's chat, and I hope somebody screenshot it. If not, we can go back and get it on the replay. Somebody probably screenshot it. Said that everybody now is under the umbrella of the Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc. Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc. Well, see, James, the first thing I'm going to do is say this, because I know you're going live tonight. Show us proof that you've actually incorporated. Show us documents that you're an actual incorporation, because J.B. Gunner in the past has pulled the same card, and there's no corporation under the name of J.B. Gunner or any of his aliases. Trust me. I know how to look things up, and so do other people, and there's no corporation for J.B. Gunner. And the reason is because, you know, the way that he's funneling his money, if he had a corporation, he would have to actually declare everything, which we know he doesn't, right? Maybe you don't either, James. You probably don't declare everything on your taxes either, right, James? Sippy Cup. Rom makes a complete fool out of himself. Of course, he's being paid to do that. He's saying he's not. He's absolutely being paid. Okay? So, James, when you go live tonight, I'd like to see receipts that you have an actual corporation. And what type of corporation is it, James? Or is this what you're doing, James? Maybe Big Daddy Brian's in progress of creating that corporation for you, paying for it, and going through the process with you, right? But it's probably not ready yet. Whether you create an incorporation or whether you create a corporation, James, or not, this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to divert liability away from Texas caregiver Brian and put it onto you because you're worth a lot less, right? You're trying to divert liability, James, and it's not working. It's not working, James, because the damage has already been done, right? Because even if you and JB and everyone sponsored by Brian deleted all of your videos today or changed them up to Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc., I have all of them downloaded, and I could prove it in a court of law, James. So your pathetic attempt and Brian's pathetic attempt to divert liability away from Texas Caregiver and Brian and divert it over to the non-existent, fictitious Lycan Theory Entertainment Inc. is pathetic. Show us receipts that you actually are incorporated, James, or shut your mouth. James, you continue to mess with the bull and you continue to get the horns. And same with Brian. And Brian, you're going to want to stick around, bro, because today it's checkmate for all of you, right? See, here's the thing. Like I mentioned on a previous stream last week, remember what the thumbnail said and what I titled it? I said, don't go after the sheep, go after the shepherd, right? You see, J-Rom, you're a sheep. Anna, you're a sheep. Gunner and Jamie, you two are sheeps. You two are like the assistant to Brian's sheeps, right? You guys are like the assistant managers, right? So you're like the high-end sheeps, right? But you're still not the shepherd, right? All of you are not worth my time. None of you. James, JB, Anna, J-Rom, or anyone else that Texas Caregiver has paid to attack me, right? That's why I'm going after the shepherd. So you can sit here, James, and try to make a pathetic attempt to divert liability off a Texas Caregiver onto a fake Lycan Theory Entertainment Incorporated company that doesn't exist. That's pathetic, bro. Did Brian tell you to do that? Is Brian also in progress of actually creating a corporation for you and paying for it to protect himself, right? And even then, even if you had that, what would happen? Brian would pay you and all the liability would come onto you, right? Well, that would kind of protect Brian a little bit, right? But it would still all lead back to him, right? And see, James, you would have to have liability insurance if you did that. If you didn't do that, then you'd be stupid because, let me tell you something, James, if you don't protect yourself, well, if you actually get a corporation, you can separate your personal assets, right, from the corporation. But it costs money and takes time to create it, right? And you also are going to need liability insurance, which for your type of business, there's no insurance company in the regular market that would take that risk, James, right? You would have to go to what's called surplus lines, which means it would be a non-admitted carriers that are authorized to transact in the state you're at, meaning carriers that take risks that are greater than usual, and it will cost you about 3 times as much to get liability insurance for your Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc. They're going to ask you, what do you do, right? Well, I harass people on YouTube all day. Well, I'm sorry, we're not gonna take that risk. We're gonna send you out to surplus lines and charge you a premium of $30,000 per year because the liability is too great. I know insurance, Jamie. I know about corporations. I know about liability insurance. I did it for over 10 years, James. Nice try. Nice try. So, Jamie, show us receipts that you're incorporated legally, or retract that. You didn't think I was going to go here, James? But see, maybe you thought I was going to go there, James. Maybe you thought I was going to go there. Maybe you're trying to get me to talk about Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc., just so you can try to make fun of me, right? But see, that's not what this show is all about, James. There's a lot more to this. That's fine. To the person behind the scenes, I will strike people. I will strike people later. Don't worry about it. To anyone behind the scenes on the front lines, I don't care if people call me a phony or a fraud. It doesn't matter. They're just jealous. I don't care. We will handle this professionally, respectfully, and maturely afterwards. But I appreciate your concern, and I thank you. I honestly do. I'm going to continue with the show now. Thank you so much. It just more so goes to prove how much people are trying to eat off my plate out of jealousy. It's pathetic, right? It's pathetic. If I'm a fraud, then sue me. If I'm a fraud, run my background check. It's cleaner than all of you criminals out here. All of you have criminal activity. All of you. I don't. I'm squeaky clean. There's absolutely nothing on my background check. You want to call me a fraud? If anyone believes you, I'll just send in my background check directly. Heck, I may even do a stream where I show my own background check. I don't care. I got nothing to hide. How much do you folks have to hide, right? No big deal. It's not a big deal, right? So James, again, maybe you're trying to create this fictitious, corporation to try to trigger me, which it doesn't trigger me, James. I'm laughing in your face because I know exactly what you're doing. And I know why you're trying to do that. And even if you're legitimately trying to do it, I know you're trying to divert liability off of Brian. But the bottom line is this: the damage has been done, James. And Brian is liable. And like I said, if anyone understands insurance, it's a guy that sold it for over 10 years. And let me tell you, I live in California. We have the strictest insurance laws in the country. So let me tell you something, bro. If I understand California insurance, I understand insurance in Brian's neck of the wood and in your neck of the wood. Okay? I understand insurance in Raleigh and in Eagle Lake. We'll talk about Eagle Lake in just a little bit. Stick around. Stick around for that. Are you triggered yet, James? You're going to be more triggered once I mention how I have Brian in Checkmate. You're in Checkmate, Brian. You're in Checkmate. You guys are all laughing right now, right? You guys all went to J-Rom stream earlier and watched this guy get paid to pathetically attack me for no reason, right? But who's playing who? J-Ron? You think I really care about what happened years ago? Yes, I do care about the safety of Anna's kids. And I do care about Anna not being beaten by J.D. Gunner, right? What I don't care about is stupid, pathetic, fabricated, paid-for drama. And if you think I'm as dumb as you say I am, you just got played again, Rom. J.D. Gunner, I know you're watching and you know I played him. because you played him too. JB Gunner's playing you too. Listen, I can't stand JB Gunner, but like a good friend of mine has said to me many times, I can never get the words out right. Even a broken clock is right twice daily. There we go. Even a broken clock is right twice daily. J-Rom, you're getting destroyed by Gunner and myself because you're getting paid to act like a fool. You're getting paid to act like a fool, Rom. And Rom, you're a sheep, like I said earlier. So is Anna. I'm not coming after the sheep. I'm going after the shepherd that is sponsoring you and Anna and Jamie and JB and everyone else I mentioned on my stream yesterday, my last stream from yesterday, or my last 2 streams that I did yesterday, right? So who are you going to add on the payroll next, Brian? You're going to add truck driving kid Billy and Johnny? Are they the next 2 on your payroll, Brian? I'm 10 steps ahead of you, Brian and Jamie, right? Who's next, right? Well, let's see if you even consider sponsoring anyone ever again, Brian, after what I say here today, Brian, because it's checkmate. It's over. It's game over, Brian, because there's no way out, Brian. You know what? You know when people say checkmate? You know when people say checkmate, Brian? When there's no other move, Brian. Any move you make, you can't go anywhere. You're stuck, Brian. You're cornered. You're finally cornered, Brian. I've been waiting for this day forever, Brian. Yeah, he paid, Rom. Everyone's paid. And now they're getting paid to say they're not paid. You have to understand, this manipulation by Texas Caregiver goes deep. Now, people that are saying they're not getting paid are being paid to not say they're being paid. You understand that? They're doing reverse manipulation. I'm not buying it. One freaking bit. You're all pathetic. Pathetic, right? I honestly think, to a certain extent, J-Rom was actually triggered on that stream. But I also do think that a lot of it was amped up because he's being paid to do that. Right? Because if he was really super triggered about it, he would have actually responded yesterday and not today. He did a stream or 2 after the first stream I did yesterday, where I shared that video about his fiancée Anna, right? That damning video, right? And he said nothing, right? So if he was really that triggered, don't you think he would have gone live a lot sooner? Why did he wait an extra day? Because he had to check in with Big Daddy to see how to play the game, right? Think about it, guys. When do I go live? I go live when I have up-to-the-minute news. When I go live here, it's because I've learned something new and it's breaking news. I don't sit here and wait 2 days or 3 days or an extra day to do things. This is pathetic. Oh boy, Raleigh's back again to botting. Go figure. I don't expect anything less from you, Raleigh. That's your role in this, Raleigh. Raleigh, you're probably getting paid by Brian to bot people. That's your role. You ever thought of that? I bet Texas Caregiver is secretly paying Raleigh to bot people. That's how deep this goes. I'm getting botted every single stream now. You love me, don't you, Raleigh? Don't you? No one else would care to do this but you, Raleigh. No one else does it. Jamie doesn't care to do this. JB Gunner doesn't care to do this. Brian doesn't have time for this stuff, right? It's you, Raleigh. Yeah, Sippy Cup says Raleigh's such a loser. Yep. Is that a way to get a shout out, Raleigh? Nobody cares, Raleigh. Everyone knows who you are anyway, and you're not going to gain any traction off of me anyway, Raleigh. So what's the point? You want me to talk about, oh, Raleigh's botting me again, dude? How old are you, 2, bro? How old are you? Haters Inc. is pushing Brown right up James. What do you mean by that, Arnie? Raleigh has anxiety, I think. No, he does have anxiety. He does. He does. No, he has, I think Raleigh has anxiety and depression. So, I mean, it is what it is. If this makes him happy to bot me, that's fine. The funny thing is, like, it doesn't affect my replay. I still have a lot of views, and they're all monetized, right? It's funny. My stream was so clean and everything yesterday, it got demonetized during the stream. I submitted it for manual review, and literally like 3 hours later, it flips to green, fully monetized, and then YouTube sends me the email. Dear Agrippa on Life, after manually reviewing your video, blah, 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 we have determined it is suitable for all advertisers. Well, thank you, YouTube. Your AI has been acting up a little bit lately, so I've had to submit many things for manual review, but every time you approve it because sometimes the bot makes a mistake, right? Kissing is A for Brian Cash. Absolutely. Everyone's kissing Brian's A for cash. Right. So yeah, J-Rom, Anna, listen, quite frankly, I'm not invested in you folks in any way. I don't hate you folks, but I don't necessarily really like what you're doing. I don't think you're necessarily even bad people. I think you're caught up in this game, trying to make a living like everyone else is, right? Right? There's no way any man would destruct themselves like Jerome has done lately unless they're getting paid to do it. Look at Jamie. Look what's happened to Jamie since Brian started sponsoring him. He's gained about 50 pounds. Jamie is about 210 pounds right now. When I first met Jamie, him and I are about the same height. I think he's about 5'9" or 5'10". Like I'm 5'10". I think he's about 5'9" or 5'10". I think Jamie was around the same weight as me. Like he was around 170 or 175. Now James is about 210. And what I hear is that Jamie actually goes to Starbucks every day and buys 3 huge Frappuccinos that are 1,000 calories each. James, if you have 3 huge Frappuccinos daily, that's 3,000 calories, right? At 210 pounds, your body is burning about 2,500 calories per day without any exercise, and you don't exercise. So even after you drink those 3 Frappuccinos, you're 500 calories over your daily caloric intake. And then even if you eat keto and you eat your food properly, dude, you're still putting in a ton of calories and sugar through those Frappuccinos and the alcohol and all that. You're literally consuming about 6,000 calories per day, and your body's burning 2,500. That means, bro, you're over by 3,500 calories per day over what your body burns because you're not working out. 1 pound of fat equals 3,500 calories. James, if you continue to eat the way that you're eating and drink the way that you're drinking, even if you eat right, you're going to be 300 pounds in about 2 to 3 months or 4 months. You're going to be the next JB Gunner. I'm trying to give you some friendly advice. It's the truth. He'll end up becoming a diabetic like Mr. Collins. Right. This is what happens when a guy with deep pockets like Brian pays people and tells them to put on this act, right? It destroys their life because they have to continue the facade in order to keep getting paid. It's pathetic. You guys are pathetic, all of you. All of you. So I have no vested interest in coming after you, J-Rom, or Anna. I could care less. I do care about kids, and I do hope those kids are safe, but that's none of my business, right? I put that video out there to basically show the true colors of your lady because you folks were coming at me trying to make up things about me and trying to say other things about yourselves that, were not true. Video shows it all. Video shows it all. That video was with Anna being drunk at JB's place, at their place, a little over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And when people are drunk, they have no filter. They display their true colors. James Frame is an obese disgrace. He absolutely is. Yep. Absolutely. I'll mention this. Hey, WrestleMania, have a good day, man. I didn't notice you were here, but thank you for being here. Hi, Elias, just stopping in for a quick hello from my break at work. Have a great stream. Thank you, WrestleMania. Have a good one, bro. We'll see you next time. Now, I wasn't going to mention JB Gunner, but I'm going to mention it for one reason. JB Gunner is more so going at J-Rom than me. JB Gunner knows I've figured out the YouTube game. He can't get to me no matter what he does. It's not worth his time. Sure, he'll do a video on me every now and then, but it's not a big deal, right? But he's going after J-Rom. Why? Because he's being paid to do that. I told you guys yesterday. They're all being paid to put on an act. They're staging an act to get an audience there, right? That's all it is. It's an act, folks. It's all an act. Do you think J-Rom would have 40 people in the box? Do you think J-Rom would have 1,000 subs if they weren't bought for him? Come on. Folks, this is all fabricated and paid for by Brian, Texas Caregiver, right? So I have no vested interest, and I don't care for people that are acting and acting in a way pretending to make it look real, because that's what sells, right? It's reality TV, right? But do you even think reality TV on TV is real? Maybe a little bit, but to a certain extent, it's a skit. They tell people what to do. They say, amp this up, go in there and get a little more mad than you normally would, right? Amp it up for the camera, right? For the ratings, right? Do you folks not realize that this is an act? This back and forth between Gunner and J-Rom is an act. Because again, if it wasn't an act and J-Rom wasn't paid by Brian to not help Anna file domestic violence charges, then they would have done it, right? And the statute of limitations has not expired. It's been less than 3 years since that domestic abuse happened. They're not filing because they've been paid for. They've been bought out. J-Rom and Anna sold out to Brian over doing the right thing by making a criminal pay the price, right? That's what happened. Brian bought out Anna and J-Rom. No one would ever be able to buy me or my soul. You guys sold your soul and your dignity and your pride over money. That's pathetic. Pathetic as hell. Rom keeps talking about Mr. G every day. He does talk about Gunner every day. You know why? He's being paid to do it. And so is JB. And he's trying to say he's not getting paid because that's what Brian's telling him to do. Brian's saying, I'm going to pay you to feed into this, but don't put my sponsorship information and don't say that you're sponsored by me. He let it slip a few times because he is sponsored by him. You are sponsored by Brian, J-Rom. No one's buying it. If you let me pull the chat right now. Let me pull the chat right now. If you feel that Brian and Anna are both sponsored quietly by Texas Caregiver, put a 1 in the chat. If you feel they're not sponsored, press 2. Put a 1 in the chat if you feel that both J-Rom and Anna are sponsored by Texas Caregiver. And this is all fabricated. Hey, Dan, how are you doing? Lycan Moonface has a big disgrace, drinking 1,000 calorie lattes all over the place, singing, he will gain weight. He will. No, he'll be 300 soon. And that'll be the end. Queen Helen Casey says 1. Let's see. Who else is not buying their BS? Arnie says, and GLM accepted payola. Yeah, I exposed that yesterday. And she acknowledged it before the show started. GLM was on the payroll. Mr. Ka, who we know who Mr. Ka is, and trust me, we're going to handle that separately. But we got something for you here today, Brian. We got something for you here today, Brian, and I'm going to make you all wait. I'm going to make you all wait. Yes, I'm going to make you all wait. I'm going to take a break here in a few, and then we're going to come back and talk about how I've got you in checkmate, Brian. There's no way out of this, Brian, at all. No way out. No one's buying this, Brian. No one's buying this, Jamie. And here's the thing, Jamie. As far as, you and JB being the top two on Brian's payroll, as much as I can't stand JB Gunner, even if Brian left him, which trust me, after you hear what I say today, I'd be surprised if he sponsors any of you. But even if Brian removed the sponsorship from both you and JB has a better chance of surviving without Brian than you do. I'll give him that. I don't know if he would, but he has a better chance because JB is capable of actually creating real content, and you're not, James. You're not. Isn't there not a possibility Brian is paying them off one another? Yes, Brian is very careful. He is funneling money 3 or 4 people deep. He's trying to hide everything. Yep. And I hang on. Hang on a second here. So there are a bunch of people that are emailing me and messaging me on Hangouts. And I just found out that Raleigh just became sponsored by Like in Theory Entertainment Incorporated. So you're going to write off those botting events as a business expense, James or Raleigh? Show us your incorporation, James. Show us papers that you're legally incorporated. Show us that you're insured, James. You're not. This is phony. Unless Brian is actually working on it. And why would Jamie be sponsoring people? You see, the truth of the matter is, Jamie, you're scared. You're scared, Jamie. You had to do this Like in Theory Entertainment thing because you're scared of the liability exposure. If anyone knows liability exposures, James, it's me. And trust me, when I come back from break and share with you folks where this is going, you're done. On your own. Because for you, Brian, there's no way out of this. It's checkmate. You're cornered, Brian. You've been hiding, Brian. And let me tell you something, Brian. If you continue to hide after what I tell you, you're going to automatically give me the win by default. Let me put it to you that way, Brian. Let me put it to you that way, Brian. I'm going to get you to come out, Brian. I incited the doctor to come out, Ronaldo, to show his face, right? Because he never showed his face, right? I'm going to pull the same thing on you, Brian. You're going to have no choice but to show up. And if you don't show up, Brian, you're going to lose. Either way, you're going to lose. I'm going to tell you how. Brian. And that's why this Like in Theory Entertainment Inc. is being created. It's a phony corporation. Unless I can go online and see that he's incorporated, I'm not buying it. Show us receipts, James, that you're a corporation. Show us receipts that you have insurance and you're a legitimate business. Show us. Or stop the charade, James. Lycan can barely afford kitty litter. Of course, Rob is a bigger joke than Raleigh. They're all a joke. They're all pathetic. They're all pathetic as hell. Let's see. Bell and Brian. Brian is funding both Mr. G and Rob and is encouraging them to fight behind the scenes. I just said that. I've been saying that all along. It's pathetic. Lycan has surrounded himself with dancing clowns. I agree, Belly. He's a joke of YouTube. Yep, they're all a joke. They're all a joke. Well, folks, I'm going to step away and take a break here. When I come back, we're going to talk about Brian and how you're in checkmate and what makes it the stream of the century. Pay attention, James. This affects you. Pay attention, JB. This affects you. Anyone that's sponsored by Texas Caregiver, this affects you. everybody needs to tune in and pay attention. Now, give me a second here. Give me a second here to cue up some amazing, wonderful, beautiful, royalty-free music. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Somebody made a request yesterday to play a song, a blast from the past. I haven't played it in a little while. I've been playing it occasionally every now and then. But I want to take care of my audience. What song do you think I'm going to lead into break with? Those of you that know me, what song am I going to lead into break with? Put it in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Let me see here. Give me a second. I'm queuing up music. Let's see here. What's happening in the chat? Rom is a disgrace, a man-child at best, says Arnie. Sippy cup Arnie, he acts like a schoolboy. Rom is decomposed, says Arnie. Cut the head off the snake. Yep, it wasn't me, says Queen. Rom has to be the worst clown of the lot. Yep, Sippy cup, no man pushing 50 talks about wanting to throw hands. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, he's saying he wants to come out to Redwood City, right, to the Bay Area, right? Come on, this is pathetic, man. Grow the hell up, man. Come on, we're grown men here. This is ridiculous. So what song am I going to lead into break? What song? Somebody requested this yesterday, but I didn't see it until it was too late. I'm going to wait just another maybe 30, 45 seconds to see if somebody can guess what song I'm going to be leading into break from the YouTube audio library. Someone come on in here. Someone bust in and say it. Oh, this is beautiful. Sippy cup like, grow up, dude. Rom couldn't afford the bus fare. Nobody's paying attention, huh? Well, I'm just gonna... No, I can't play Private Eyes. It's copyrighted. I'd love to play some Hall & Oates. Private Eyes, they're watching you. Oh, well, that's going to come in the second part of the show. I'm not going to play the song, but that's a part of it. That's a part of it. I'll give you a little hint, right? No, we're gonna blast away in the break using the blast from the past. Double Helix, that's right. BWYA Gaming, Double Helix by Ethan Mixel. Stick around, we'll be right Oh yeah, we're back. We're back. We are back. And kill it. Scratch. That's another song by Ethan Mixel called In the Shadows. Do you folks love that Ethan Mixel guitar? I'm going to go and check out the YouTube audio library. I haven't been there in a while. I'm going to try to find some other Ethan Mixel songs. Ethan Mixel can rip that guitar. I tell you that, don't you think? If you like Ethan Mixel, put a 1 in the chat. I love that music. It's great, especially Double Helix. There's no other song better in the entire YouTube audio library than Ethan Mixel's Double Helix. But anyway, welcome back to Navigating. Sorry, it's not Navigating the Modern World. Well, I guess it could be, but it's Morning Coffee. Welcome back to Morning Coffee with Coach Eli live here on YouTube. Again, this show is not being simulcasted on Facebook for obvious reasons. It's a very niche stream to an existing audience of mine that stems back as far as 4 years. If you're new here and you don't have a clue regarding what's going on, this may not be the stream for you. Please accept my apologies and come back another time. But if you've been a part of this for a while, this is pretty damning. It's about to get more damning. It's about to get real, folks. And I'm not kidding here. This is no joke. Like, I am not playing here. This is no joke. It's about to get real. It's about to get real for you, Jamie, for you, JB, and anyone else sponsored by Texas Caregiver. Because like I said earlier, I did a stream last week called, don't go after the sheep, go after the shepherd, right? You take out the shepherd, what happens to the sheep, right? The sheep are going to become lost sheep. Have you heard of the phrase lost sheep? Remember, I referred to an old Dukes of Hazzard phrase, right? Remember Uncle Jesse? He was a shepherd. And when he would call Bo and Luke Duke on the radio, or Daisy, not Doozy, Daisy, on the radio, he would say, shepherd to lost sheep. You got your ears on? Shepherd to lost sheep, right? We're about to start dealing with a bunch of lost sheep here, folks, and I'm going to love every single minute of this. Ding dong, the shepherd's gone. Yeah, we're going to be ding donging, the shepherd is gone. Woo! I'm glad Coach is exposing these fakes. Oh, of course. And this is not phony. I'm not a phony. This is all real. This is all real. And if people think I'm a phony, like I said in the past, I invite you folks to look at my background. Check out my background on your own. I'm telling you folks, look into me all you want. These people were paid to fabricate things on me for years, to trigger me, to make content out of me. I'm the only real one here. I'm not trying to show off by that, but I'm a real person. This is the truth, right? Now, I was talking in the first part of the show regarding Jamie creating a fake company called Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc., right? And I said, James, show us proof that you're incorporated. And what type of corporation are you? And do you have liability insurance? Show us that you're real and not playing a game here. It's not triggering me, and it's not going to affect me. And if you think it's going to protect your sponsor, Brian, by doing that, too late, James. It's too late, James. It's too late, James, because the damage has been done. The damage has been done, James. Like, this is stupid, right? And by the way, James, why would you start a corporation and not an LLC, a limited liability company? You see, that's a bad move, James. That's why I know you're full of it. I know you have no company. And maybe Brian's helping you start an LLC or some type of S Corp or something behind the scenes, right? But you're full of it, bro. You're full of baloney. I'm calling you out. Show the receipts, James. Show the receipts or stop your pathetic game to try to save your sponsorship, because it's about to end. All of you are about to end. He will just type up fake document. Well, here's the thing, Sippy Cup. I want to see a link online. I want to go to the official website to find out the corporation. You can look up corporations online. If that's not online, it's not a legit corporation. I can tell you right now, it's not a legit corporation. Dan says, these people will be homeless without Big Daddy's money. They refuse to work for themselves. Right. Arnie says, James is pretty dumb, but he surrounds himself with people more moronic than himself. Right. You can't fool people that are smarter than you. Good point, Arnie. Bell says, does Rom also wear diapers? I know Anna does. Sippy Cup, I agree, Bell. He has a history of preying on women like that. Bell says, at Dan, without Brian's money, they would have to get a proper job. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm hearing from many people, you have a lot of moles, James. And let me tell you something, James. You have a lot of moles that are making you aware of things, James. And here's the thing. You're trying to make it appear like you're signing up people under Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc. That's pathetic, bro. So you ready to get right to it, folks? You ready to hear the end of this whole drama sphere is about to end here today. It's over. It's over. Checkmate, Brian. This is the stream of the century. I want you folks to remember this day here today, Friday, April 30th, 2021. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February, all alone. And every 4 years, there's leap year, 29 instead of 28 days. This is the last day of April. What a way to end the last day of April and go into May Day. Maybe we will party. Maybe later tonight we will party. Maybe later tonight we're going to finally gloat because there's nothing that they can come back with this. Nothing. Nothing. Because I'm going to tell you something, Jamie and Brian. Brian, you're going to be forced legally to face me face to face, Brian. Because you've been hiding. You've been hiding like a little whiny female dog, Brian. And you're going to be forced to confront me face to face, or you're going to lose. And either way, you're going to lose, Brian, because there's no way out of this, Brian. No way out of this, Brian. April 30th, 2021, a day which will live in YouTube infamy. In history, right. Lycan's own fault for welcoming in clowns like Rom. You folks ready to hear this? Are you ready to hear this? You tell me. You ready to hear this? Because I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to rock. James is so triggered right now. So triggered. Jamie's methane bubble is about to blow up. Yep. It doesn't matter if he has Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc. or LLC or whatever. Or Lycan Phony. Let's call it Lycan Phony Entertainment, Inc. Lycan Phony is a better name for it, James. Lycan Phony LLC, right? Lycan Phony Entertainment, Inc. Because it's phony entertainment. It's pathetic. Bell says, go for it, coach. You folks ready for this? You tell me. You ready for it? Gonna wait a second here. Yeah. I'm gonna take advantage of this moment. Of course I am. This is a defining moment. Four years in the making. 4 years in the making. Coach always handles business respectfully, maturely, and professionally. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for quoting me on that. I appreciate it, bro. It's pretty funny, but it's the truth. Ready, coach, says Sippy Cup. So, Brian, I'm sure you're listening intently wherever you're at. I'm assuming you visited Josh Haters Inc. in Washington recently. Maybe you're still flying. Maybe you're flying somewhere else to try to enlist some new people. But, Brian, you're watching. I know you're watching, Brian. Jamie, I know you're watching. JD Gunner, I know you're watching. J. Rom and Anna, I know you're watching. Everyone's watching. One place or another, you're watching. I could care less as long as you hear this message here. This is the end. This is the absolute end. There's no turning back from this because, Brian, you're going to have to face this once and for all. Now, yes, Brian, my family and our attorney, they're looking into things. That's a separate case, Brian. that's going to go through. That's going to be a civil case, Brian. That's a whole different thing. That's a different thing, Brian. But, Brian, I've decided to take some action on you, Brian, that you're not going to have any choice but to face me one-on-one, or you're going to lose. And not only are you going to lose, Brian, but everyone you sponsor is going to lose too. Because, see, I don't have to go after Jamie. I don't have to go after JB. I don't have to go after anyone that has that you've sponsored and that has put your logo and has mentioned that this video is sponsored by Texas Caregiver, because you're responsible for that, Brian. You're responsible for that, right, Brian? Brian, you tried to cover your tracks, and you did a damn good job, except you didn't realize one thing. You didn't realize the one card I have, and I'm going to play it because I have it all. I have all the evidence, Brian, and it's going to be simple to do it, and you're going to be biting your lip after this, Brian, and Jamie, you're going to be triggered. All of you that are sponsored by Texas Caregiver are going to be triggered as hell. All of you. No, there aren't 304 watching Bell. There's about maybe 60 watching. Those are botted views by Raleigh. Those are not real views, Bell. I can tell you right now, YouTube actually automatically filters out the views from botted views. They're all in the same IP address. But they tell you your playbacks as your live, and they're already filtered out. Right now, I'll tell you right now, I've been on for an hour and 2 minutes. I have 229 views. That's what I get about per hour, folks, about 225 views. Right? Some of you go and stream for 4 hours and get 100 views. I get 225 views per hour. Now it's at 230. So what happens is when people bot you, it's from the same IP address, stands for Internet Protocol, and YouTube automatically filters out those views and only counts it as one. So I'm telling you where I'm at right now. Remove the head from the snake, and then all the haters will disappear. Right. That's what I told you, folks. Why waste time going after the sheep? You go after the shepherd. Why do you think the sheep have been trying so hard to create diversions, creating fake incorporated companies, right? You know, creating fake drama, right? Because they want to make it so distracting, even to me, that I don't go after the main person. Well, here's the thing, Brian. Listen up, everybody. Brian, I've said this before, but I've never decided to go this route with you, Brian. And this is actually going to happen, Brian. I'm going to tell you how it's going to happen. I'm going to give you 1 week, Brian, to do what you think is going to save your ass regarding this, Brian. 1 week. To get with Jamie, to get with JB, or to get with anyone else that has created hateful content on me. And you figure out what the right thing is to do to protect you from what I'm about to do to you legally, Brian. And no, Brian, I'm not going to sue you, Brian. I'm not going to sue you, Brian. Brian, I'm going to file a civil harassment order on you. A restraining order, Brian. Well, let's talk about it. The cat's out of the bag. You see, Brian, I can file a civil harassment order on you, and I'm going to if you don't do the right thing. Because let me tell you, it's either going to be free of charge or it's going to cost me $450. Either way, I don't care if it costs me $450. I'm sure I'll get it for free based on the information I have on you to be able to get it for free. But either way, it doesn't matter. Here's how it's going to affect you, Brian, and how it's going to affect you, Jamie, and how it's going to affect you, JB, and how it's going to affect everyone. Here's what's going to happen, Brian. If you don't do the right thing and get with your people and remove every piece of content that you've sponsored against me with your company's name, Brian, I will file a civil harassment order on you next week. Don't believe me? I've already done it once with a guy that was very, very difficult to get it on, but I got it. I'm the doctor, right? And for those of you that think that Ronaldo and Trim are not the doctor, you're being paid off, including you, Shangy, and Fire. You're being paid off by Brian to keep your mouth shut. That's what they're doing. Everyone's been paid off to back off against, this Ronaldo character who's actually the doctor and Trim, because Brian wants me attacked every single way possible, right? Right? You don't think I know that, Brian? You don't think I know you're involved in that, Jamie? You know he's involved in that. And you're going to try to flip it. Oh, Eli's crazy. Nope, I'm not crazy, because it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore, because here's what's going to happen. If I file that harassment order, if you don't do the right thing, Brian, which I know you're not going to do it, so I'm going to file next week, right? Okay? Here's what's going to happen, Brian. I'm going to serve you, and you're going to try to avoid service, okay? I'm going to serve you in Eagle Lake. You know where Eagle Lake is at, right, Brian? Okay? But here's the thing, Brian. If you try to avoid service, I'm going to get the same private investigators that I got on JB Gunner to legally watch you and wait for you to step foot out of your house to serve you. It's legal, Brian. Brian, you can run, but you can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide, Brian. I've got the money, Brian. I will pay PIs thousands of dollars to legally hunt you down and serve you with a civil harassment order. Now, Brian, once you're served with that civil harassment order, you have one of two options, Brian. Your one option will be to fly to San Mateo County in California and defend yourself against me in court, which means you would have to face me man to man, Brian. You would have to come out of captivity and face me man to man. I would love to see that, Brian, because if you do show up in court, Brian, I will bury you with so much evidence, right? I will show the judge so much evidence. And Brian, there are things that I have on you, and Jamie, there are things I have on you that you're not even aware of that will bury you both. But we're going to keep that quiet for now. If we have to use that in court, we will, right? But nevertheless, Brian, you're going to have two options once you're served. One, to show up in court in San Mateo County in Redwood City and face me like a man, Brian. Or number two, Brian, what's out? And then I get to arrest on my own petition and I get a restraining order on you. Either way, I'm getting a restraining order on you, Brian, whether you show up or not. So what are you going to do, Brian? Now, here's the thing, Brian. Once I get that restraining order on you, Brian, let me tell you something, what's going to happen. At that point, Brian, you're going to have a few days to get with everybody, Jamie, JB Gunner, and every single person that has sponsored a video that's hateful and attacks me with your logo on it, or any video where Jamie or JB have said sponsored by Texas Caregiver. If you don't do that, Brian, at that point, I'm going to file violations on you. And each violation, Brian, I know this because I have a restraining order on the doctor. Each violation, Brian, will cost you $1,000 and or 1 year in jail, or both, Brian. So let's look at this realistically, Brian. If you go to the website I've made of you, there are 150 video links or more of videos that Jamie's made on me alone, Brian, sponsored by you, right? Let's take 150 infractions, violations, Brian. Multiply that by $1,000. That's $150,000 that you're going to owe the county of San Mateo. Thank you for bringing your money into California, Brian. And up to 150 years in jail, Brian. So here's the thing, Brian. Is this worth it to you to not only be fined $150,000? And there are more videos, Brian. We're not even including all the videos that you sponsored JB to do on me in a hateful way, Brian. There's probably at least 300 videos, Brian, that have been sponsored by you to targetedly attack me that are still publicly available or are sitting on private, right? That's $300,000, Brian, or up to 300 years in jail, Brian. Do you want to spend the rest of your life in jail? Or are you going to shut this shit down today, Brian? What's it going to be? What's it going to be, Brian? You're hiding in plain sight, Brian. You're hiding in plain sight. There's one way out for you, Brian. One way out. I'm not going to tell you what that way is, Brian. I told you what's going to happen if you don't figure out what to do before I file the RO, Brian. I will know if I need to file the RO or not by next week. And if you don't change a thing, Brian, I'm going to file the RO and I'm going to force you legally to face me like a man, or you're going to lose automatically and then I'm going to file violations on you. One way or another, Brian, checkmate. It's over, Brian. It's over, Brian. Jamie, start looking for another job. JB, start looking for another income source. And everyone else, start looking for another income source. Let me tell you, Brian, the last thing you want to do is show up in a court of law with me because not only are they going to see what you've done, they're going to look into you, Brian. And let me tell you something, the last thing you want is a government agency to reach out to another government agency to look into you and your financials, Brian. You want people looking into your financials, Brian? How far do you want this to go, right? How far do you want this to go? I'm not BSing this time, Brian. I know how to fill out the ROs. You can ask the doctor, you can ask JB. Back then I was working with the same person to get that RO on JB. Let me tell you something. We found JB, we'll find you. We found the doctor, we'll find you. I know exactly where you live. And if you're going to try to hide, Brian, let me tell you something. I'm going to have my PIs follow you all over Texas, Brian, legally. I'll have them follow you to the point of where if you're going to be stuck in your house all day like Jamie, you can stay stuck in your house. I'm gonna first have the sheriff try to serve you, Brian. And then what's going to happen when you avoid service like a sissy? Then I'm gonna pay my PIs whatever it takes to sit outside your house legally until you walk out that door, Brian. Once again, my suggestion is every single person sponsored by Brian, start looking for another job or income source. Stop talking about me. Remove all your videos. I don't care if you don't do it, right? I don't care if you don't do it, right? But here's the thing. You can keep all those videos up all you guys want, but your Big Daddy sponsor is going to be violated for it legally. And yes, this will take some time. I will file. And then it will be about 3 weeks before I get, actually, I don't have to wait 3 weeks. I will file, I will go in, and then I will get it approved. And then I will serve you. It'll take me a few weeks to serve you, maybe less. And then it'll be 3 weeks or a month before the court date. It is targeted harassment, Sippy Cup, it is. Bell says, the last few months have been hate and not fun. Bell says, having fun is okay, but there's fun and there's hate. Bell says, his sponsoring logo on hate videos is 100% proof he's targeting the coach. Yep. What you going to do, Brian? What are you going to do, Brian? You're going to try to hide this through a subsidiary, or through, you're going to help Jamie create Like in Theory Entertainment, Inc. or LLC, and just send him money? Let me tell you, Brian, we'll look into that. We will somehow get to transfer money to him. We're going to look into everything, Brian. And when my family comes at you, Brian, for the civil case, they're already looking into all your financials, Brian, legally, right? But in your case with me, Brian, because here's the thing, Brian, when we go to court, I'm going to tell the judge and say, Judge, I've tried to call this guy. I've tried to email him, message him on Facebook over issues that his company has done to myself, and he's never once responded to me. You claim to be a real business, Brian. You're going to have to tell the judge why you won't respond to me. Brian, any normal business would respond to a situation any customer has, Brian. Now, let me ask you folks in the chat something here. I'm going to be going off the air in just a few minutes, and I'll probably come back later for another stream. Get your questions in now. What are your thoughts? Let me ask you this. What do you think Jamie's thinking right now? JB Gunner's thinking? J-Rom, Anna, anyone else sponsored by Brian? What do you think Brian's thinking? What do you think's going on? You tell me, right? I could care less because that's what I'm going to do. I've been sitting on this for a while. Because I had to get more evidence, and now I have it. I already had plenty, but now I have more. Now I have more evidence. I need to thank Rom for opening up my eyes. What seemed like fun before is clearly hate. They try to destroy me. All of you that have been pinned and pitted against me have been targeted, attacked against me, paid for by Brian. It's all been fabricated to destroy me. That's all it's been. That's all it's been. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So Lycan Theory apparently made some changes. Give me a second. Wow. Let's see. Lycan Theory Entertainment, Inc. Well, I'll tell you this. I will be looking into this. It's phony, folks. This is phony. This is an attempt to protect Brian, Texas caregiver, from not being sued. It's too late, Jamie. Jamie, you should have probably started this company a long time ago and not branded yourself as Texas caregiver, as being sponsored by Texas caregiver. It's too late. You can delete all those videos, dude, and I have them all downloaded, James. It's too late. You're backed into a corner. So is JB. But I'm not going to come after you guys. I'm coming after Brian, the head of the snake, the shepherd, not the sheep. Frank says, Eli is going straight for the head of the snake. Yep, I think it's the best way, says Arnie. Yep, Lycan is probably crying to his minions, says Sippy. Positive and loving woman. Good morning, Eli. Chat, still visiting family in Florida. We're all going camping this weekend by ocean. I can't wait for Jim to get here for a few days. He will be here this afternoon. Well, that's cool. That's Jenny from the block. Thank you, Jenny. Great to hear from you. This will all be done by the time you get back. Bell says they should delete all the videos and never mention you again. Positive and loving woman. Have positive and blessed weekend, everyone. Queen Helen Casey, the only thing he better be changing is his diaper. It's fake, coach. Don't fall for it. No, I know it's fake, bro. Sippy Cup, let me ask you something. Have I not been saying that the entire show? I know you're looking out for me, and you're thinking I may miss something. But Sippy Cup, do you understand I've been saying that this entire show? I'm not falling for anything. Will the judge see those videos? They're telling you to kill yourself? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. JB Gunner says, I want you dead. And James says, I agree. I agree with that. Low key, James, right? Oh, that's just one part of it. There's a lot more to it, right? There's a lot more to it. I've got everything. I've got thumb drives. I've got external drives. And I know how to fill out those forms, and I know the system. I know the system of how to get this RO legally. Arnie says, liking the entertainment is just some BS trying to make a joke out of it. Yep, absolutely. That's why I'm saying show receipts, James, or shut your mouth. It's not going to work. But Brian, here's the thing, Brian. I don't care how many videos or how much Jamie mocks this tonight or throughout the week or JB or anyone. This is between you and myself, Brian. 1 week to fix this, Brian. Next Friday, Brian, if this is not all fixed in a way that's satisfactory to me, and then you guys never talk about me or mention me again, then I file. Over the weekend, I'll do the paperwork, and Monday, I file. And then I serve you. That's how it's going to go, Brian. And again, Brian, you want to roll the dice? I'm going to go through with this, Brian. I'm trying to give you a way out, Brian. I'm actually filing this time, Brian, because it's free of charge to do it. That judge is not going to be happy with him. Nope. Mr. G is a drunken bum who'll latch on to something else. Yep. Hang on a second. Hang on. Give me a second here, folks. I had to respond to a text message real quick. Let me see here. Give me 1 second here. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens later today. Quite frankly, I don't care how much content these people make. I don't care how many diversions you try to create, James. I don't care what you try to do, James. Everybody knows the truth now. Everybody. There are people here from your audience, JB's audience. There are people here because they're tired of this. They thought it was all just fun, but this has been a real targeted attack. Premeditated targeted attack, right? One week, Brian. I'm not kidding. It's not going to cost me anything to file on you. And even if it does, let's say it's one of those ROs that needs to be paid for because it doesn't qualify for the free version, I'll still pay the $450 or whatever it is. I don't care. One way or another, Brian, this is going to end. You're either going to have to face me legally like a man and come out of hibernation, Brian, or you're not going to show up and I'm going to get to rest on my own petition and then file violations on you because you're violating the restraining order, Brian. You got a lot of people, Brian, that are contributing to the violation of the future restraining order. You know what I'm talking about. It's not going to work, James. You're done. Well, Sippy Cup, I'm not going to say that. I'm a little more mature than that, and I'm going to handle this respectfully, professionally, maturely. Josh says, I can't believe Gunman is drinking after all his health issues. So self-destructive. They're all going to go live today, and they're all going to talk about this. Either that, or they're going to be instructed by Big Daddy to shut their mouths. But Big Daddy, you better instruct them to do something that's going to keep me from going down to that courthouse a week from this Monday. I'm going to be courteous and give you a week because it's going to take time for people to do what you need to tell them to do to prevent this from going any further, Brian. Arnie says, like in theory, wake up to yourself and accept the fact that you are a major non-talent. Jamie never thought I would bury him this way. James, you're done. You are done. You're done. As far as JB Gunner, he's not done. JB Gunner, despite what he's done or what I think of him, which I'm not too fond of him, and I'm not into his content, but he has talent to create actual content. Jamie does not. This is what Jamie's been living and dying off of. It's over, Jamie. It's over, Jamie. A guy that you called the CUCK for years, when you know that you're more of one than myself because your father is one, right? Your father and mother did things that corrupted your mind, James. Bell says, Brian is their godfather. It's Sippy Cup. Time for Big Daddy to step up. Brian, YouTube Mafia. Yep. I'm going to ask you folks in the chat here. I'm going to ask you a question. I know you're all in socks here, but I want to know where you're coming from. Put a 1 in the chat if you are former Lycan Legion. Put a 2 in the chat if you're former Gun Squad. Put a 3 in the chat if you're a former member of both of their groups. 1 in the chat if you're former Lycan Legion. 2 in the chat if you're former Gun Squad. 3 in the chat if you're a former combination of both. I want to know where you folks are coming from because I really want to know who really understands what happened here. Who gets it now? Who understands that you folks were played as well to hate me for no freaking reason? Bell, former Lycan Legion. You got people in here. Sippy Cup says, I'm neither. Okay. Josh says, Gunman said his balls have swollen to the size of softballs. He's got issues. Yeah, he needs to go to the doctor. That's not healthy. Arnie, neither. Bell says, Mr. G content isn't my thing. But you've been watching from afar, I'm assuming, right? Wow. The botted view stopped, and we have 51 legitimate people here. We have 51 legitimate people. $51 legitimate people here, folks. I'm going to take one more break right now. I'm going to give you folks a chance to share your thoughts in the chat. I'll read that when I get back. And I've decided to talk about a few more things before this stream ends. I'm going to keep it going for another 30, 45 minutes. Folks, let me know. I want to ask you, the audience. Are you good with going another 30, 45 minutes? Put a 1 in the chat if you're good with another 30, 45 minutes. That's all it's going to be. Or 2 if that's not good. Let me know. If not, I'll come back another time and share a little bit more. 50 legitimate people and 1 ROM. Yeah. So I'll wait for that. In the meantime, just in case, I'm going to cue up some music. I'm at a loss for words, folks. I really am. I'm one man that's had to fight off hundreds of people coming at me because they were paid to come at me. They had motivation, monetary motivation to continuously come at me for years. It's just unbelievable. I didn't ever want to take it to this point. Everybody's saying 1. Well, we're going to keep it going a little bit longer. This is unbelievable, folks. Because I got to ask you folks a question in the chat here. Most other people that would have gone through even half of what I went through, you still think they would still be here and moving forward? I want to get your feedback on that, folks. That would mean a lot to me. It's sad, says Sippy Cup. It is. It's sad. It's really freaking sad. Let me cue up some music. give me a second here. Okay. All right, folks. Music is all queued up. I couldn't have done it, Coach. There has been others, but I wouldn't mention this person. Let me tell you something. I'm going to talk about that when I get back. Because you folks have all been misinformed. You folks have all been misinformed. You folks really don't know what's going on because they were that good at paying people off to keep certain people from talking or talking a certain way. But I'm going to tell you the truth. Because certain people deserve justice besides me. It's not just me that deserves justice. There are other people too. And maybe one day these people will share their stories. Because let me tell you, if you think my story runs deep, holy shit, you have no idea what other people have been put through by the same group of people. I've tried to protect so many people from this group, and they had to see it for themselves. I'm going to take a break, folks. Stick around. We'll be right back. We're back. Scratch it. Yeah. Wow. Turn the collar, Eli. You have to look professional, right? Yeah, screw the professionalism, right? Does it really even matter anymore in this modern world? So many unprofessional phonies in this world desperately seeking relevancy because they don't want to work hard to create something that comes deep within them. That's the truth, folks. I'm being real with you. I'm not trying to pull any fluff your way or push any fluff your way. This is the truth, folks. I'm really saddened by this whole thing. I really am. I really honestly am. Anyway, welcome back to Morning Coffee with Coach Eli live here on YouTube. This is the third and final segment. I decided to go a third segment because I decided to speak on some things that I wasn't certain about if I was going to speak on them or not, but I decided let's do it all in one shot. Let's get this all over with. Let's end this here today once and for all. Many people have been hurting from this directly or indirectly, myself more so directly, some indirectly, but it's still pain. It's still despicable. It's still just unbelievable. If you missed first few parts of the show, go back and check out the replay. We talked about Like in Theory Entertainment, Inc. I've been receiving a lot of emails and messages behind the scenes. I checked them out while I was on break. You have a lot of lurkers, James. You have a lot of moles. A lot of moles in your Discord that are sick and tired of your crap, that are pretending to be cool with it. But I'm going to tell you right now, James, I would say about 60% of your Discord has turned on you. And that's fine. You can try to figure out who they are. But here's the thing. I'm hearing from a lot of these moles that Brian is scrambling to change things over to Like in Theory Entertainment, Inc., right? So I was right. I called it. My intuition's spot on. It will never be destroyed. He's trying to create a separate entity to basically divert liability off of him. Brian, it's too late. Brian, it's too late. And by you doing this, Brian, is more so going to bury you, especially in the civil case, right? Because all of this, let me tell you, Brian, you're dependent on Jamie and his people keeping everything quiet that you're doing behind the scenes, but people are turning everything over to me, Brian, and that will be used against you. Not only in my case with the restraining order, but in the civil case that my family files on you, Brian. And it's too late, Brian. Stop wasting your time trying to create this fake Like in Theory Entertainment Incorporated to try to save your ass, Brian. It's too late. It's too late. So check out the replay if you missed the first two parts. Now, what am I going to discuss here? I want to make something very clear. And I'm not going to specify any names during this part, with the exception of three names. Brian, the owner of Texas Caregiver Support Services, Like in Theory Jamie, and J.D. Gunner. Those are the only three people that have really ever mattered throughout this entire thing. Why? Because the two main people that have the biggest reach that Brian sponsored first was Jamie and J.D. Gunner. Right? Besides them, the other names are just deep sheep. Now, J.D. Gunner and Jamie, let's look at it this way. Brian is like the general manager, right? And Jamie and J.D. Gunner are assistant managers, right? Then the rest are just sheep, or like subsidiaries or whatever, right? That's the way we're going to look at it, right? Because I understand business. People think I don't understand business. I do understand business more than you know, right? The rest of the people don't need to be mentioned. I will tell you this. There are a lot of people that, even the good people that are here supporting this right now, there are a lot of people that you good people here may think are implicated or involved in this, and they're bad people. No, they're not. They got caught up in this. They got caught up in this because they needed support, they needed money, they were struggling, and this was an easy way for them to try to take care of their financial issues, right? Or they got caught up in seeking relevancy or whatever it is, right? They're all sheep. No one else matters here besides Brian, Jamie, and JB. And let me tell you, Jamie is right below Brian, and JB is below Jamie. JB, it doesn't matter what you say. Jamie makes more than you. Okay? And that doesn't even matter. The bottom line is Jamie is the right-hand man to Brian, orchestrating this whole thing. Even things involving JB Gunner go through Jamie. Everything goes through Jamie. That's why you never hear Brian. That's why you see Jamie going from panel to panel to panel all day, every day, stirring up drama. You never see JB Gunner do that. JB Gunner did that for a little while, but he doesn't do that anymore, right? So if we look at the top two people here, it's Brian and Jamie, right? Why do you think Brian is creating a fictitious, fake, like in theory entertainment company, right? And not a JB Gunner entertainment company, right? Because JB says he has a corporation. No, you don't, JB. You don't. If you do, show it. Because I've tried to dig. JB, I did a full search on you, and there's nothing. I've paid people lots of money to do deep investigations, and there's nothing. I'm going to come out and say this right now. Outside of Jamie, Brian, and JB, I'm willing to exonerate everyone else that's even been paid by Brian as long as you do one thing, do the right thing. Pull out now and denounce Brian and say you're moving forward and apologize to everyone that you've hurt or that's hurt because of what you've done to participate with this. The time for you is to get out now. If you don't get out now, then you will be implicated in any legal matter that involves this. You want to be exonerated? I'm telling you right now. Outside of JB Gunner, Jamie, and Brian, anyone that today or tomorrow, I'll give you a couple of days, you exonerate, you basically come out and say you're denouncing Brian. And you apologize to everyone that's been hurt in any way, shape, or form based on your doings. And you'll never hear from me. Anyone that continues is going to be implicated in any future legal matters involving Brian or Jamie or JB. That's the way it's going to go. There are other people, many of them, too many to mention, and I'm not going to mention them because I don't want them getting attacked. And I don't want you folks to think that there are any specific people. There are a lot of people that have been on the right side of things all along and have had to play it off and turn the cheek because they didn't want to get attacked. These people are innocent. They're innocent. They're innocent. Completely innocent. I don't want to hear negativity towards any of these people. I don't want to hear negativity towards anyone, period. But if you're going to be negative towards anybody or any people involved here, it's the top three. Brian at the top, Jamie number 2, JB Gunner number 3. That's it. Besides that, I don't want to hear a thing from anyone, even the good people that are here, because all of the rest of these people are just deep sheep. And quite frankly, I don't think JB Gunner is even as involved as Jamie is. Jamie, you are Brian's whiny little dog. You are Brian's female dog, Jamie. Not even JB Gunner. I hate to even say that. Has JB been involved? Yes. Has he done some things that he needs to pay for? Yes. But if we look at who the main culprit is outside of Brian, it is Jamie. Jamie, you are Brian's female dog. Not even JB Gunner has gone as far to do things to protect Brian's wrongdoing as Jamie has. JB has not gone that far. I think I said that right. JB Gunner has not even gone as far as Jamie has gone to protect Brian's wrongdoings. JB has his own thing going. Arnie says the rest are mindless sheep. I'm going to come out here and say this, folks. I've never intentionally come out here and harmed anyone. All I've done is defend myself. These people were paid to pin and pit me against other good people. And I will mention a couple of people here that are about to go on the payroll. Truck driving kid Billy and Johnny Dangerous, whatever your name is. Johnny, I've said this again, or I've said this before, I'll say it again, which is what I'm trying to say. They cloned my account to come into your chat, pretending to be me to try to sell you something. I never tried to sell you anything, Johnny. You're being played, Johnny. And same thing with you, truck driving kid Billy. You're being played. You're being used. Now, if you guys want to come at me on your own, independent of them, go right ahead. But I have no problem with you or anyone else. I have no problems with anyone. Don't try to stir problems up with me just to white knight for a paycheck, because that's coming to an end. James serves his master, says Arnie. Again, besides JB and Jamie, and the head honcho, which is Brian, I'm willing to exonerate all of you as long as you renounce Brian publicly on a stream or a video and you pull away. You terminate any sponsorship with him. Apologize. You don't even have to apologize to me. I don't care. Apologize to the many other people you hurt by participating in this. And I will never ever look at you or implicate you in any legal matter, because I'm telling you right now, folks, this is legal. It's all going legal. You've already known that. It's all going legal. And for Brian to sit there and scramble to create Like in Theory Entertainment Inc., for Jamie to try to hide this, it's all showing. It's very telling. Now, they might try to come out publicly and say it's a fake thing or whatever, right? Whatever they try to do, don't believe them. They're going to try to create diversions. But the truth of the matter is, Brian is in serious shit, and he's doing whatever he can to protect himself legally. It's too late, Brian. It's too late, Brian. You're in way too deep, Brian. And like I said in the past, Brian, the civil case with my family, let me tell you, I'm not trying to show off again, Brian, but your little cheap properties in Texas, you've got maybe 2 or 3 properties worth probably a total of maybe $600,000, Brian. I'm not trying to pull rank and show off my family. But let me tell you, Brian, between my mother's estate and my father's estate, which is run by my mother, and my aunt's estate, that includes homes that were owned by my grandfather and grandmother as well, I would say there's about 15 houses there. And let me tell you something. The cheapest house, the smallest house in the estate is worth $1.3 million, Brian. Our smallest little house in the family estate, or the estates of the family, the Melas family, is worth twice as much as all 3 of your homes combined, Brian. You're messing with the bull, and you're getting the horns. And I'm not trying to flex my family's money. Everyone knows that my family has money, and we don't show it off. I'm only saying that, Brian, because we are now going to use our resources to bury you once and for all. Mods, keep banning the trolls. They're so triggered because the jig is up. They're so triggered because the jig is up. If you think they're triggered because the jig is up, put a 1 in the chat. If you think they're triggered because the jig is up, put a 1 in the chat. Brian, let me tell you something. Your family left you a lot of money to continue the family name in the estate. And you just destroyed it, Brian. You destroyed your family's name. All of these people here have been coming at me and saying the Melas name ends with you. No, it doesn't. I'm telling you, it doesn't end with me. And J-Rom, I'll answer a question that you mentioned. I'm 47 years old and in good health. If I can find a woman that's willing to have a kid with me, I will knock her up. And I don't care if I'm 60 years old, I'll still be in good shape and be able to take care of that kid. And even if I don't have any kids, Maybe I'll adopt, Brian, and keep it going that way. I could care less what you guys, not Brian, sorry, J-Ron. Lots of ones in the chat. Everyone's putting one. One, everyone. They will probably go live and talk about it all. Of course they will. They're going to do damage control. It doesn't matter what they do. The jig is up. I'm telling you all right now. I'm not mentioning you folks by name, but anyone that's ever been involved in any business with Brian to come at me or others, this is your time. This is your time to own it, apologize for it, and renounce Brian. Renounce, whatever it is. You denounce Brian. Denounce him. Mods, you missed one. You're not paying attention. You're not looking at channel names. How pathetic is this? I'm going to take most of the rest of the day off and relax. If you folks try to email me or contact me, I may not get back to you until later. Lewis, I know you want to talk again, you and your sister. If you're watching this, Lewis, it's going to have to wait probably till the weekend or early next week. I need to relax after this. This takes a lot out of me. It took a lot out of me today. And I may come back for a night stream tonight, or I may just take the rest of the day off and let this stream ride. I need a break. Most of the foot soldiers are broke, so they probably won't. Well, here's the thing. They have a chance to not be implicated in anything. This is their chance to get out, or they'll be implicated. That's the bottom line. I'm not messing around anymore. I'm not messing around anymore. This has gone on way too far. Or way too long and way too far. See, Brian. See his background, Brian? That's a king, right? That's a fallen king. Checkmate, Brian. That's you right there, Brian. Take a good hard look at that. Was it all worth it, Brian? Was it all worth it, Brian? Let me ask you this, Brian. Was it all worth it for you to put all that money at risk to destroy and shame your family's name, Brian, and to go down like the Titanic? Your family trusted you. Your parents passed away, Brian. You created your company because of what your parents were going through. Now you're shaming your own parents, Brian. You should be ashamed of yourself, Brian. Are you that miserable of a person, Brian, in your personal life that this is what you had to do to even have friends? Did you have to buy your friends, Brian? You know who's trolling me right now? It's Jamie. Jamie's trolling right now. There's no one that's more invested in this that would troll than Jamie. Keep trolling me, James. I don't care. I don't want you, James. You got nothing to take anyway, James. You're not even worth it. You're a sheep. I'm after the shepherd, the head of the snake. When the head of the snake is cut off, the rest of the snake and all the babies, all the sheep, they got nothing. Nothing. You guys took from me for so long. Now it's time to take back what you guys took from me and move forward. Lycan has a lot to lose, and he's about to lose it all. Brian's life was, is, and will always be a disgrace to humanity. Queen says that's nothing new. Bell says Lycan has the most to lose. Of course he does. He has everything to lose. Mr. G does other things right. Like I said earlier, I said it. JB will recover from this. Jamie lives and dies Brian. This is the lesson that Jamie needed to learn. And now you're going to learn it the hard way, Jamie. I told you, Jamie. This is not sustainable long term. You didn't listen. You never listened, Jamie. I legitimately tried to help you. And you could have done something that would have probably made you more money that was legitimate. Now, James, it's done, right? Yeah, I hear your car is paid off. That's great, right? But you still have probably $150,000 worth of mortgage to pay, right? And your mortgage is pretty cheap, James. You could probably afford your mortgage off of your donations, right? But how are you going to pay everything else without Big Daddy sponsoring you, right? How are you going to live your lavish lifestyle of getting up every morning, going to Starbucks and getting 3 or 4 huge 1,000-calorie frappuccinos, dude? That's killing you, bro. Geez, one of those is too much. If I go to Starbucks, I make my own coffee, but when I'm, on the road or hiking, I go to Starbucks, and we have this other great drive-through coffee company here called Dutch Brothers. You know what I get? I get an Americano with Splenda and with a little bit of cream. Very, very little calories. That whole entire big coffee is probably, I'd say, about 50 calories because the cream has the only calories, right? I could drink the same amount of coffee you drink, James, and only put in 200 calories in my system and still feel as good, or actually feel better than you feel putting in 4,000 calories. Getting that sugar high, right? And then you crash and you put 4,000 calories in your system before you even had anything to eat, and then you wonder why you're gaining weight and not losing weight. Your keto is not even worth it, dude. Why do keto when you're putting all that sugar in your system every day? That within itself is putting you above your daily caloric maximum intake. It's pathetic, dude. You're rotting in real time, bro. You're rotting in real time on YouTube Live, bro. This is the moment I've been waiting for, my moment of redemption, right? And do what you gotta do. Do your reaction videos, talk all the shit you want to talk about me, I don't care. But this is done. It is finished. It is over. Arnie says, James will wind up back in Florida sharing a bedroom with his dad while his mother shares her room with others. I'm just going to say that. Oh, yeah. I can tell you right now, James is triggered as hell. They're all triggered. All of them. Everyone sponsored by Brian is triggered, and Brian is shitting in his pants. That's what's happening. I'm going to wrap up by saying this, folks. I'm going to get out of here. If you think that Brian is shitting in his pants, put a 1 in the chat if that's what you feel is happening. Right? Keto doesn't work if you eat sugar constantly. It's about calories, BWYA Gaming. It's about calories in, calories out. The keto diet, what it does is, or the low-carb diet, when you eat high protein, let's say you eat 500 calories of meats and cheeses, right? Protein, right? It keeps you full longer. It sustains you longer. And it doesn't give you a sugar high and a crash where you want to eat 20 minutes later. That's what these people don't get. That's what they don't get. They don't understand. I can help them, but they don't want my help. So they're going to rot on YouTube in real time. That's what they're going to do, right? Lots of 1s in the chat, right? Lycan really doesn't have a bunch of support like he thinks. Nope. Nope. They kept trying to come at me to White Knight for Brian. They all did. I finally figured out the game. I finally figured it out. It's done. It's finished. It's over. Go and make fun of me, James. Go live right now, James. Go live after this. Go live and give me a piece of your mind. And tell me what you got, big boy. Tell me what you got, dude. What you got left in the tank, dude? How are you going to come back from this, James? Nobody trusts you anymore. Let me ask you folks here in the chat. Will you ever trust Jamie or JB Gunner ever again? Put a 1 if you will never trust either of those two again, or put a 2 if you will. I will never trust them again. Same with Brian. The rest of the people, I'm willing to forgive and forget. You were all just sucked into something. You didn't even know what you were getting into initially. And once you got in it, you were sucked in. You couldn't get out. I get that. I'm willing to forgive you. I'm willing to exonerate you. If you do the right thing, I'm willing to exonerate you. The only people I'm not going to exonerate are Brian, JB, and Jamie. That's it. The rest of you, you do the right thing, you're out. You'll never hear from me again. You don't, you're implicated. Get out now while you can. And I'm not messing around. Sippy Cup, he will have Rob do his dirty work so he can blame someone else. Coach? Nope, I'm not going to blow a gasket fake sock account. No. I actually feel pretty good. I'm in a good spot. I figured this out. It's game over. Bell and Brian, 1, never trusted Mr. G, but have been doubts about liking for a while, hence why I'm here. Well, what do you think now, Bell? I wonder if that's a reborn nursery woman. What do you think now, Bell? Does this make sense to you? Does it? All right, folks. All right, folks. I'm going to get on out of here. I may be back later tonight. If not, I'll be back at some point tomorrow. I don't have any plans for the weekend as of now, but that may change. I'll keep in the loop. Keep an eye on my community tab. Check out my community tab every few hours. And I'll update you folks if anything comes up there. If you don't hear anything there or any videos, just know I'm fine. If you email me, it may take a while for me to get back to you. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. There are some people that I'm expecting to contact me. I'll get back. I'm gonna prioritize my my communication throughout the rest of the day because I just don't want to be overwhelmed with stuff. I'm not gonna let this overwhelm me. I'm gonna go and enjoy my day and do what I have to do. Bell says, I woke up. I'm hoping Brian gets the message. Great stream, Coach. Thank you, Bell. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm going to get on out of here, folks. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye. Bye.